Welcome to episode 27 of the tutorial series Livewire 3 from scratch. My name is William Juma. In this episode, I would like us to look at how to make a Bootstrap model reusable. What I'm going to do is to create a Laravel component. So what I'm going to do here is run the command php artisan make component. Then the name of our component, I will call it model. And remember, this is a Laravel component, not a Livewire component. When we create it, we have two files. Inside app, we have a folder that has been created that is called view. Inside here, you can see we have model.php. And this is the one that launches the view. So it has a constructor method and then the render method. So pretty much the same way Livewire does it. And then down here, when we go to resources, views, components, we have model.blade.php, and this is our Laravel component. So inside here, I want to paste some Bootstrap model. So we are going to go to getbootstrap.com and search models. I've already done that. And this is what I'm going to copy. Let me just show you. Above here, we have live demo. So this is a button. When clicked, we can be able to have this model being launched. So let me copy this and just paste it here. The next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to remove the launch button. So that one, I'm going to just delete it like that. We remain with just the model itself. Inside here, I'm going to do a few things. Of course, the first thing that I want to do is that the model body will be able to pass in the data as a slot. And I believe when we were talking about the layout component, you were able to see something of this sort. Of course, we have the title, and then we have every other thing in this model, but we will be able to do something about them in a short while. I would like to create a Livewire component, which I'm going to call patience. So php artisan make Livewire, and then we are going to call it patience like that. And this you create for us a patience Livewire class here, and then of course we will also have a patience view inside the folder views Livewire, and then downwards we will have patience.blade. I want to do inside this file to be able to just have a title of patience, and then I need to have a button here, which in this case is going to be the button that will launch our model. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to copy the launch demo model button from there, and then I'm going to paste it here. So that button will be able to launch for us our model. So in this case, let me call this model create patient. Let me just call it create patient like that. And then now for us to be able to use our component, we are going to import it here. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to say X and then the name of our component. We called it model like that. And then we will close this. So now once we have it like this, it is possible for us to launch this model by clicking the button. But before we do that, I have to go to routes web.php and be able to create a route for the patience component. So in this case, we have patience there, and then down here we can be able to have the route, and here I'm going to just have it as patience and here we are going to have patients class, like that. I believe if I have typed everything correctly, we can be able to launch our patients component by just visiting localhost 8000/patients. And now we have our button, create patient. If I click on it, you can see we are able to see the model. But of course, the title is the same that we are having and every other thing. I want us to go ahead and go into the Livewire class and be able to pass in a few things. So inside our patients Livewire class, so you go to app Livewire, and then we will go to patients.php, and inside here I would like to declare several properties. So the first one, public, and this, in this case, I'm going to just call the property, I'm going to pass two things. I'm going to pass a title, and in this case the title, we are going to call it create patient. And then I'm also going to pass an event, public event, and in this case I'm going to call our event create patient, like that. The reason why I'm doing this is because when you launch the model, whatever it is that you'll be passed within the slot, you'll be the one that you'd have would be what it is that has been passed from the component that you'll be passing in here. But anything that is outside here for the title and for these buttons here, you have to find out a way in which you can be able to pass them. So we can be able to pass as props, and then once we click here, we can be able to have an event that you'll be able to call a method, in this case the specific event that we have, and then we can be able to act on saving whatever inputs that we have there. So let us go ahead and do that. So after that, I want to go to our Livewire class, in this case the one that we are calling patient, patient.blade.php, and here I want to pass properties. So in this case, we are going to pass the two of them that we have been able to set in our Livewire class. And so what I'm going to do, I'm going to call them by a different name. So the first thing I'm going to have is model title, like that. And then in this case, inside here, I'm going to pass a property that we have called title, like that. And then of course we have the event. So in this case, I have another one we are going to call event name, and this one I'm going to pass in the property that we created that we have called event. And remember, those are two things that we've been able to create inside our Livewire class, the patients.php, this one here. So now I would like us to be able to receive these properties, the attributes that we are passing to our component. And because we are passing them to the model, we have two ways in which we can be able to pass these properties. We can be able to go to view, that is app view model, and we can be able to pass them inside this constructor here. The other option which I'm going to use in this case is just passing them directly into our model as props. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to just above here inside our model, I'm going to pass in props. So in this case, we can have props, and then we will just pass in the names the way we set them in when we were calling this component. So in this case, we have model title, and then we have the other one. I think we called it event name, like that. And so I can be able to go ahead and pass in the title here. So I can remove this model title and pass something dynamic that is coming from wherever we are opening this component. So in this case, we can have model title, like that. So now if I'm to refresh and click on create patient, now you can see the title is being passed in, and that is nice. I also want to do something about the button below there. In fact, both of them. The reason why we are passing in the event is because we want the event to be unique. So you will, even as you pass the events, you will try and attempt to make the event names a little bit unique, such that there will be no other place in your application where this event name is being used, but not for the specific function. Now here, because this is a Laravel component, we cannot be able to use wire click here. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to just use the Alpine way of doing things. So we can say X on click, like that. So this is how we do it in Alpine JS. And of course, we can be able to use the shorthand by just saying @click. And inside here, this button of ours is a button for closing. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to pass in the event name, and then I will slightly modify. So in this case, we can have @click dispatch. We have a $dispatch, like that. And then inside here, we can be able to pass our event name. And remember, the event name already, we have it somewhere. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to just do it like this and pass in event name, like that. But remember, for this one is for closing the button, so for dismissing the model, or in other words, causing the model to be closed. So in this case, this event name, I want to modify it a little bit. So I'm going to put -close. Then of course I will copy everything that we have here, because we have two instances where we close the model. And the reason why we are attaching an event handler in the close of the button is because you will sometimes, for these forms, you are required to reset them. So it's good for you to be able to handle when a user clicks on that close button. Now I want to paste on the save button, so we can be able to just have event name. So I'm going to remove this -close, so we just be passing in the event name. So now if we refresh, I want us to just view the page source and see what is going to be viewed. Down here, you can see we have @click, dispatch, create patient, close. That is nice. And this other one, we have create patient, close for the other close button. And then for this one, for creating the patient, we just have create patient. And I believe that is good enough, because now we can be able to hit the endpoint that is doing the saving of the data that we have in here. I want to go ahead and now have another Livewire class, in this case a component that we are going to call create patient. So PHP, I do not know why it's typing down there, let me clear. Yes, PHP artisan make Livewire. And in this case, create patient, like that. I'm going to hit enter, Of course, it's going to create two methods for us, the Livewire class and then the blade file. So here I'm going to just, I do not need the title. I can be able to remove it completely because we are passing the title dynamically. And what we are going to have here are just inputs. So I want to go to getbootstrap.com and just copy a form. So I can scroll downwards and then we will have a place where we have a form. Yes, form overview. I'm going to copy this one. And just whatever it is that we have at the beginning here is what I'm going to pick. I'm going to pick from here and then paste everything here. So I can even replace whatever it is that we have, the divs, and then just change this one into divs. So this is a closing div where we have form, and this one I can have it as an opening div such that we have one root element. I want to go ahead and include this component now inside our, we can be able to pass it in the inside the patient component whereby we are clicking the button. So I'm going to open patients.blade, and inside here I'm going to pass in Livewire the way we pass in the Livewire components if we are using them as non-full page components. So you have Livewire and then the name, which is create patient, like that. Can be able to close it and have it that way. So now if we go back and refresh, if I attempt to click here, now you can see we are having the form being displayed. For our patient, I want us to have several inputs, and what I actually want is just name, email, and phone number. So let me go ahead and do that just to give you a feel and also repeat some of the things that we have learned to just make the concepts permanent. So in this case, the first input, I want it to be the input of text, and then I want to remove some of the things here. Label 4, I also want to remove some others on this other side. Yes, all those things. Yes, all of them. Yes, like that. Then of course I can be able to also maybe remove every other thing here. And even the button, we can be able to remove it because we will be using the button in the model. So basically this one I'm going to call it name, and then of course here the input type is text. Here we are going to have wire model, and we are going to pass in the name just like that. Then of course I want also to handle the validation errors, so we can say at error. In this case we are checking the errors that belong to the name property, and then at end error, like that. And here we can have a span with a class over text hyphen danger, like that. I can be able to pass in the message, that is the error message, if it exists. Be able to close my span like that. Now I can be able to just copy this input several times to be able to have the other inputs. So in this case we can have the next one, which we are going to have email and wire model email, input type email, and then the error for email, like that. Copy it one more time downwards, and then this one we will have phone, and then here also phone and the error for phone. Input type, maybe we can have it as number, like that. So now if I'm to refresh and attempt to click on my button, now you can see we have name, email, phone. I want us to go to the create patient, because now it is the component that we are loading inside our model. Create patient and be able to declare the properties. So we are going to have public name, like that, and then we can be able to copy it several times. The next one is email, and then the last one is phone, and then we can be able to have a method that we are going to call save. We can call it anything, public function save. You can even call it save record, like that. So save record, and then inside here we can be able to just maybe do some validation. So this validate, and then inside here we can be able to have the values. So we're going to have validation for name. So in this case we can say name required. I'm not going to do so much validation. It's just sort of like showing you that it will be able to respond accordingly. And then email, and then phone, like that. So we have done the validation, and now we need to listen to our event. So I'm going to import the Livewire attribute on. So use Livewire attributes, and then on, like that. And then we are going to use it here to listen to that specific event. So here we can have on, can have hash, and then the open square brackets, and then inside here we can have on, in this case capital O small n, and here we are listening to an event which I think we called create patient, like that. And now I want us to refresh and then attempt to click on save changes. Now you can see it's asking us for validation, so meaning we have hit the correct endpoint, and this is very nice. I believe we can be able to input data and then be able to sort of save, which I'm not going to do, but I want to just check when the validation passes. I'm going to do this JS, and then we just alert. We are going to alert patient saved, like that. So that is what we are going to alert. Of course, here is maybe where we will do the saving of the patient. Okay, let us attempt and see what happens. So I want to refresh, and then I want to fill a name, maybe William, an email, just something fictitious, and then a phone number, some numbers, because we have not even restricted on what should be done. So you can see patient saved, so meaning everything is working accordingly to the way we want it to work. I have an issue. If we want to launch this model from anywhere, we will actually have the button, the way we are having it here. Let me open the patients.blade. We will have a button with a type of button, but then ensure that we have included data toggle model and then the name of our model. But I'm thinking of a scenario where even inside this component, we can have another button. How are we going to handle that? And I think that question will assist us to make it a little bit more dynamic, more than where we have reached. So let us go ahead and do that. So I want us to have one more button. But if we have one more button, if the button is being launched in a similar fashion, then we are going to have an issue. So I want each button to be launched by sort of whatever it is that was typed as the event, because at the end of everything we are trying to attempt and make the events unique. So in this case, I'm going to change this, whatever it is that you're having here, leaving only the hash. I'm going to remove every other thing, and then I'm going to add the event like that. And then of course we are still passing the event name. So even when we go to our model, now we will not be targeting example model, but we will be targeting an event now, in this case, model that is called hash, that is called create patient. So I want to go to our model and also modify that. So here also, instead of example, I'm targeting the ID, this one here. This is what I'm intended to replace. So this ID is what we are going to replace. And instead of having it as example, I'm going to have it as event, like that. Not event, but event name, like that, because that is how we are passing the whatever it is that we had there as event. So now I want to attempt and refresh and see what is going to happen. When we click, it's still working, and that is nice. But it is more nicer when we come and work on something else. So I want us to go to our patients, patients.blade.php here, and I want to create another button. So can you allow me to just copy this? So we can copy it and we can paste it here. And I want this button to launch another component that is called patient vitals, like that. But now what we are going to have is that now this, whatever it is that is going to be launched here, will be something else. So of course we will need to pass something different here, and let me call whatever it is that we are passing here event 1. So of course we will go back to our Livewire class and pass and create another property that we will call event 1. So when I open the patients class, I want to here just copy this one and call it event 1. And I'm going to call it create patient. I'm going to have hyphen vitals, like that. So create patient vitals, like that. And since that is the case, we also need to modify our title. So I'm going to copy that one also and be able to call it title 1, and I'm going to call it create patient vitals, like that. Obviously I need to create a component that we will call create patient vitals, which we will have the vitals of the patient and pass them to the Livewire class and save. So in this case, I'm going to run php artisan make Livewire, and then I'm going to call it create patient vitals, like that. I press enter. Of course, it's going to create for us a Livewire class and then also the component here. And it's taking a little bit of a while. Already created now, it's okay. So I will open this create patient vitals, and this is what we have, so I can be able to remove every other thing here. In fact, I'm just going to copy whatever it is that we have in this form that we created for create patients. I will copy everything and then come and paste it in create patient vitals, and then I'll be able to modify accordingly. So in this case, for patient vitals, I think what we have is when a patient goes to a hospital, before they are attended to, they get the pressure. And so it should be wire model pressure. And then this one should also be pressure. Of course, it's called blood pressure, but it's okay. We can call it that. Then the next thing they can be able to get is weight. And then here also I'm going to have wire model weight, like that. Maybe this one, let me just put it to text. I'm not very concerned about whatever it is that I'm doing right now. I just want to show you that it will work. So we have the weight, and then we have the height. So this is height. We can be able to copy this and paste it also here. Then of course, I think after weight, height, is there any other thing that they usually measure? I think temperature. So I can copy this one and paste it down here, and we will have temperature. And then this will be temperature, and then of course temperature also, like that for the error. So basically everything is right here. So I can go to our Livewire class for create patient vitals. So we have which here, create patient.php and create patient vitals. This one, I need to declare the properties. So you're going to have public. The first thing was pressure, and then we can be able to copy this severally. And the next thing is weight. It's not a must for them to be in order. The next thing is height. I think. And then lastly, temperature. Like that. We can be able to do validation. So maybe I can have a method here which we're going to call public function save. And then of course inside here we can be able to pass in our validation and do every other thing. I'm going to open create patient and copy some of these things. So I will copy everything that we have inside here, such that we will have similar behavior. So inside here, inside the save method, I want to paste everything that we have, and we are going to change whatever it is that we are validating. So the first one is pressure, and then height, and then weight, and then of course one more thing, which is what was that? Temperature. Like that. And then once we have this, it is also okay for me to also go and set the listener here. So I can be able to just use the attribute again. So use Livewire attributes on, like that. And here can be able to listen to that event that we set there. So we can say hash square brackets on, and in this case our event was create patient vitals. I believe I have put it here correctly. And now we can go ahead and be able to add this to our patient's model. So what we are going to do, we are going to, to our patient's blade file. So here we are passing event 1, and now I can be able to just copy whatever is that we're having up, since we are going to reuse almost everything. So I'm going to copy and paste down here, and then now our model title is title 1 and the event name is event 1, like that. And this one now should be create patient hyphen vitals, like that. So basically that is that. And then now once we have that, if we are to refresh, it seems, yes, we are having the 2 buttons. So when I click on this one, you see patient vitals and you're having pressure, weight, height, temperature. If I attempt to click save, again, you can see it stay giving me the validation that we put in the component. And also for this other one, if I click create patient, you can see the inputs are the ones that we put for the patient and even the title. When I click save, again, a good behavior. I want just to handle one thing in one of the components, and that is close, the close method. So in this case, we can be able to maybe look at both of them. So I'm going to go to Livewire class, and we are going to go to create patient, and I'm going to have another method here which I'm going to call public function close. Public function close, like that. And then inside here we are going to just have this reset, like that. So we will reset everything to the initial values, and here we are going to listen to an event, and I'm going to copy this, and because when we set the event, we set it as this event and then we added close in front of it. So create patient close, like that. Then of course I can be able to copy everything that we have here and put in our other class, which is create patient vitals. So I'm going to paste it here also, such that it will be able to just reset the inputs for this specific. But remember, this one was create patient hyphen vitals hyphen close, and we can even change this method and call it maybe close model, doesn't matter, but you will find that for both of them we can be able to close. So let me refresh, and now if we click create patient and we click this one, as you can see it is closed, but I'm just resetting. I also want to do something more and just do an alert. So I'm going to copy this, and here for patient vitals I'm going to say patient vitals. I did just copy it previously like that without changing, so I will copy this and paste it here, and I can write patient vitals model closed, and then of course on this other one, maybe I save first. Yes, I can save it, and then on this other one maybe I can be able to alert patient, create patient model. After we reset, create patient, create patient model closed, not saved, closed, like that, such that we can be able to know the different alerts that we get. So basically, let us attempt. So when I open create patient, if I click here to close it, now you can see create patient model closed. If I still open it and I use this close button here, as you can see, still the event is noticed. Even for the vitals, if I close, you can see patient vitals models closed. And if I use this method here to close, again the same thing. And of course, if we attempt to put in some information here, and I'm not doing validation for anything, so meaning it can be able to pick just anything that I can be able to type. You can see patient saved. If I attempt to go to the patient vitals, if I close the model, you can see it saying model closed. If I attempt to go to this one and type in some things, because I've not been able to put my validations as very restrictive, like that. If I go ahead and attempt to save changes, now you can see it saying height required because I've not inputted a number. I can click save. Now you can see it says patient saved, like that. So it's still possible to be able to reset the form inside here. Before we close the form, we can be able to perform a reset. So I'm going to just paste it here. This is create patient. I will save it. And then I will also paste the reset on this other method even before we do the JS alert to reset the model. So in this case, if I'm to refresh and attempt to create a patient, so in this case I'm going to just type things here, anything that I will be able to type, and click save. Now you can see it's saved. When I click OK here, now it's resetting the form, and I think that one is very nice. Of course, you can be able to add the session, the flash messaging, and so on. Also for this other one, we can be able to put in some values like that. And then when we click save, again patient saved, and then we are able to reset. This is the end of the tutorial episode. Thank you very much for following this tutorial up until this point. I ask that if you have not subscribed, that you may be able to subscribe to this channel. And if you like the video, you can give it a like. You can also go ahead and share. And you are also most welcome to engage in the comments.